This is Flor coming to you today. I'm still in Brazil, so I check with you. I'm not. So I'll wait until a few check in, and then I'll kind of start off. I know you guys are not used to me coming live as much anymore, so let me know that you're in. Now, sometimes because of the reception, when you come in the door, make sure you put a like so I know you're here. Because a lot of times I don't know if you're here otherwise. So hey, love. Peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. If you step in the door, put a light video so I know you're in the room because I can't see anything. A lot of times I don't know if you. Oh wait, I see you guys. Hey, peace. Hopefully I don't have anything in my teeth. Yes. Oh, I hear something. We just had monkeys for the whole plate. It's the west, the north, and the south. This is Flipper coming to you today for another topic of discussion. Hey everyone. Hey Quantum Sensei. Yes, yes, I am still in Brazil for those who are asking. It has been profound. I'm in like precipice, July 2nd to the 3rd. So this is all relative. Um, Big up to, oh, thank you, thank you. We were out horseback riding on the beach yesterday for my little one's birth anniversary. Her birthday was yesterday. It was beautiful. So let's kick off the topic. So there was a Etheric jailbreak, and I'll go into that. But the ET contact in Brazil is absolutely amazing. Now, as I discussed previously, big up to all my IG family, because a lot of the IG family probably is up on a lot of things going on here based on the fact that I do a lot more IG videos. As a reception, I've changed my location, so I'm now in a posada, which is beautiful. I was actually in the jungle, so it's weird because the Wi-Fi in the jungle was better than the Wi-Fi in the Posada. Go figure. So there's been a lot of contact here. When I say contact, I mean literally, if you're gonna have to bear with it. It's nothing to do with the resource. It is the conversation fairly quickly. Okay, so there's been a lot of ET contact since been here. A lot of oh, sorry, we have a lot of free animals here wild right now. I I don't know what nature not was doing, but if you're ever, Brazil is one of the places that is gully with nature. I mean, everything, all elements. Look at it. You have things running in the trees right here. There's nothing. Everything can be on site anytime. Anything can happen. So just be mindful. So as discussed before, we had one and big up to Paula, who's actually been here with me in northern Brazil for the entirety of the time. Um, she actually, um, she actually experienced the visual contact with the ET group. We did a ritual, say ritual, like a little mantra. Showed up, two crafts showed up, one in the sky, the water, and we closed it out just saying if you weren't here for our heist and grace good, you're not allowed to interact. It stopped coming towards us and then bleeped out. Probably just cloaked itself. Who's to say where it went? But it cloaked itself, knowing that we were visually able to see it. Now, we're aware of this is accustomed to. This group is like a smaller. It's a white. They're white in version, like very very pale. Similar to what I consider to be an elf. Now, most people would say, well, is that a gray? I put gray. Even though you see here in Brazil images, because the ET show up out of the blue, and I know it's personally for me that they're showing me that I'm on the path of something. But there was a particular ET that was caught in Central America on video. Some of you saw it. It was walking. It was caught video. Um, Almost like I don't know if it's all Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, you see this actually ET that's walking through the street, almost like a goblin elf looking thing. We had a chance to see its leg going into brush when we were driving at night. But we also had Paulina, I call her Paulina, There's something with my teeth. Who actually, are you guys here? Oh goodness. I don't know if you're here because again, the Wi-Fi is a little off. So if you're here making comments, it's not, I can't see you. So I know they're still here by putting likes. I know that seems a little narcissistic. I can't see you because sometimes the Wi-Fi won't allow for me to see your comments. So if you are here, can you put a like just to let me know that people can actually see the video? Because usually I can, okay. Am I seeing? Am I seeing it? I don't know if anyone's here. Okay, I'm just going to continue. Okay, I see some people putting likes in here. Thank you. Until the comments refresh themselves. Thank you. I see the likes. I appreciate it. Okay, so you said you thought that was, oh, I see it. You thought that was in Texas. I saw that. Okay. Okay. So let's go a little further. Paola actually had a beam of light underneath her door previously. She was unable to sleep. It was a blue probe light that was underneath her door. And she also, I told her, you know, she's never seen a light like that underneath her door before. And I know that the ET group, that whoever this particular one group is, again, there's many different groups here. This one group is in contact with us and making contact as far as that. Now, as we've been walking in the street, there has been disclosure. One of the parties I have been in contact with, I don't want to disclose who and what it is, but it has disclosed itself as a reptilian. I noticed that a few of the people here are showing up with the reptilian eyes just straight out. Just straight out. I took pictures because you know I'm about that life. So I make sure I put proof is in the pudding. So we already had Sydney, who was the shaman. Okay, family. So if you're on, I don't see you. It doesn't even look like I'm on, but sometimes that'll happen when I'm rewatching videos of mine. Sometimes you'll see it's on. So give me a minute. It's going to be hard to. Oh, I'm back. Okay, family. It's going to be a little difficult. And again, it's nothing diabolical. I'm in Brazil still, and even though I'm in Posada, outside of nature, the Wi-Fi is challenging. So let's go back to the topic. I want to really relieve this information so that I give you an understanding of what's going on. In Brazil here, at least in northern Brazil, I haven't been to southern Brazil yet, but notably, the beings here who are an ET group, there's multiple species, and I say species only for the fact that it's not just one kind. The one that I know notably is here that most people acknowledge is like a goblin-looking elf-like one, which is something that is quite notably recognizable by some of the Brazilian people. They don't, it's, in my location, there isn't any chemtrails, zero chemtrails. There hasn't been one chemtrail, and I've been here nearly a month, which is beautiful. So that isn't happening. So anything that you notably see in the sky that's moving, they don't have many planes coming in and out, especially where I am. So anything notably in the sky after flights have already taken off for the day are always crafts. They have crafts that are flying in the sky. Sometimes the stars that look like stationary stars are crafts. We have notably seen and experienced different beings that I personally think. Okay, Pauline is saying you guys can't hear me. Okay, let's see. If you, I can't even get the comments. Okay, hold on. First, can anyone give me a thumbs up if you can hear me so I know that you're here? Because I can't see your comments. Paulina's message just came up. Can anyone give me a thumb? Okay, so you can hear me. Okay. Okay, you can hear me. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to continue because the message is important. So there are many groups here telepathically that are communicating with people here. Now, we personally think when we're going into town, in a couple of different towns, we noticed that there were different beings here walking around that aren't human. human in the way that we perceive humans, okay? I personally have discussed on IG. We had a particular gentleman who we were talking to. It is what you consider to be Afro-Brazilian. And as we're talking to him, as you know, Paola is giving the translation of me talking to him, really cool young man. We asked him a question about his connection to the ancestors. And during that conversation, he glitched out. He totally glitched out. When I say glitched out, it means that when he was asked the specific question, okay, so they're saying okay, for anyone who could still see my video, please put a thumbs up. Because Pauline is saying she can't see it, it's frozen. Does anyone else see the video? If you can, put a thumbs up. If you can't, then I know you won't be able to. Okay, there are people who can see. I think maybe she can't see. Okay, okay, so whoever this message is for is going to hear it. I'm going to continue. So we notably were talking to a young man. Paola was giving a interpretation of what I was asking him. As soon as we asked him a question about his connection to the ancestors, he notably just stopped. There wasn't any facial expression, any totally stayed still, like just glazed. He didn't answer the question. He just stayed glazed like this. You ask him a question and someone goes like this. And then when he began to talk again, he talked about something totally different. This is what I'm talking about, the holographic people. I personally don't think that there are a billion something people in Brazil, based on meeting this young man and quite a few that I think are holographic people. I think they aren't real. I think these are holographic beings that are from other dimensions or just projected people that are empty seaters or props that are here, that are notably taking up space, but they aren't real. And I can say that based on just him, you know, showing his non-realness. I don't want to be polite. Non-realness. He glitched out totally. It was like a program playing out. And then when we asked it a question that was over the cap of what the program can actually respond to, it just went into like a verbatim auditory that was like part of a program. Like started to talk about things that were non-relative to even the topic, just like a loop. Okay, so once he did that and he went into the loop, that's when we knew that there were holographic beings there. I knew before, but I'm personally, this is my interpretation. I think that the billion numbers, a billion and something people aren't really real people. I think they're holographic people. Okay, let me go into the ET groups that are here. I'm not sure of specifically what specific groups. I know one visual of one group that is definitely here. The Andromedans have been in contact with me, so obviously I know the Andromedans are in obviously the Aztecian part of the countries and Incan part of the countries, like in South America. My Mayan sisters have always made contact with me here, but I'm talking about the other subgroups of ETs that are interacting with the Brazilian people and South American people. So as we're traveling and we're walking around, we go in towns a lot, shopping. I noticed that there were beings that were able to telepathically pick up what was in our minds, easier than others. So based on the amount of quote unquote species or people walking around that look like humans, there were those who were able to pick up my thoughts and read them and register them and react as if I had spoken them out loud. I personally think there are groups of ETs that are traveling here via portals, time portals, dimensional portals, or ships. I can't say which of any of those that they are doing, but they're here. They're walking amongst the people. They look very human, but they are telepathically in your mind. So those traveling to this side of the country, you have to start to practice to close your mind so that they are not able to jump into your mind and to read your thoughts. Okay, because that was happening often as we're traveling through the town, a couple of towns. Okay. Now, where I want to talk about the most relative of this conversation is I realized after I had contacted the shaman, big up to Sydney, who was here, who did a profound job at making me aware that I had grandmothers, ancestors that were here that I needed to forgive them, forgive myself, forgive them for not being self-aware, forgive myself for taking on some of their patterns of behavior without knowing, and also release them from their bondage to those karmic, those energetic karmic debts that they had accrued based on their lack of self-awareness and mine. As I started to do that, now again, if you're here, I don't see any comments. I wonder if I should just start this live over. Are you guys still here? Is everyone still here? Are you able to see and hear me? If so, put a like. If I see 1 or 2 likes, I know that you're here and you're able to see me. So if you're able to see and hear me, put a like. Okay, you guys can. Okay, that's all I need to know. I can't interact with you. If you're writing things and you guys talk to each other, I can't see your comments, but I'm going to keep talking because I just want to make sure I share what I wanted to share in the video. During the time when I saw the shaman, he made me aware of my ancestors, my grandmothers that were still there, and I had to release, forgive them, forgive myself, and I did so. But during this process, there is a sub world, an etheric world, I shouldn't say sub, an etheric world that coexists over this part of northern Brazil. It may exist in the southern part of Brazil, but where I am located, there is another world, another dimensional world that coexists in a right above where we exist in this paradigm. They are the people on that realm are stuck there based on all the trauma of them being dominated by groups that have super amounts of technology that were able to keep them in a field, an electromagnetic field that traps them, almost like the Fahrenheit thing that traps our entire planet, but it's on this particular etheric realm. A lot of the indigenous people and the nativos, the indigeno and the nativos, are stuck there. They don't know that they're stuck. They're living and coexisting in a world above ours, in an etheric world that they deem to be real. They're looping and they're still coexisting there in their traumas, and they're kind of going over and over like a purgatory. Once I released my grandmothers, it's 2 specific grandmothers, it did a jailbreak. I hadn't any idea this was the case. I didn't know this was even something that could exist. It wasn't anything that I acknowledged previous to coming here. So basically, when I was releasing and forgiving and coming here, when I came to Brazil, especially northern Brazil, what I did energetically by coming in physical body, being connected to beings, people, my ancestors that had coexisted here at the time, who actually had passed away on these lands, I basically am a code. I'm a code that can actually decode and release them and free them and jailbreak them from the etheric realms. I didn't know this. No one knew this until it happened. This is what's profound. So when I did my releasing, and also remember I did the full moon, the beings that were on, which are my grandmothers, that were actually on the etheric realm, caught in this loop, which is an etheric, like a planetoid that's encaged with an electromagnetic field based on these other ETs and entities and colonizers that came here. So they built a field on this etheric. So these beings can't cross over in the way that we naturally would, or we naturally do. We go up some, obviously to the dark side of the moon to be recycled and spit back in the matrix. They don't even get a chance to do that. They're coexisting in a world right above us that they think is real. And it's looping, and whatever damage or whatever traumas or whatever things that they were thinking previous to dying, they're going over and over, and they think it's real. They're stuck. It's a jail. It's a prison. It's an etheric prison. When I came here with a code, basically like a key, because I'm their ancestors, but future. Their future ancestors. This is what I'm saying when we talk about ETs. To them, I would be considered the extraterrestrial. That's why as above, so below. A lot of times when we're seeing these ET groups above us and we think that they're extraterrestrials, we're getting future aspects of ourselves that are interacting with us in an etheric way, in a higher frequency way. So we take it like it's something that's like, supernatural, but really it's an aspect of ourself futuristically. Remember, time is this, it kind of overlaps. So when I came here with a code, with a coded key, and I acknowledge that that I actually had traumas that connected to my etheric ancestors, ancestors, my grandmothers, by the very acknowledgement and the releasing of the traumas, acknowledgement of their pain, acknowledgement of their lack of self-awareness, and forgiving them for that, and then forgiving myself for taking on their physical trauma and their mental and spiritual traumas, being and decoded ancestors out of their etheric. When it did so, it released two profound grandmothers that were apparently, now I'm going to go a little deep, were healers. They were energetic healers that were here. And the reason why they were imprisoned because they did too many amazing spiritual magical things, and they were considered to be a threat to what obviously is going on here in this part of the world. We don't want to go in that because it's a little too deep, and I'll talk about that when I leave. Okay, that isn't something I want to talk about while I'm here. I jailbroke. Big up to my grandmothers, the beautiful healers from Brazil that I jailbroke them out of their etheric, the Brazilian etheric imprisonment that they were unaware that they were in, and I was unaware that they were there. I broke them out. When I did, they gifted me. They gifted me with knowledge of the healing modalities that they were able to do innately, that are lost gifts in my genomes. One particularly, one of the grandmothers, she had the ability to do what we consider to be energetic acupuncture. I can't explain it. It's acupuncture, energetic acupuncture. That's what she did to release anything that was blockages in our body. When she came to me in another frequency, she was able to communicate me just like me and you or someone in front of me and tell me and talk to me and actually have interaction. And because of their appreciation, and now they're free from the bounds or the jail that they were imprisoned in, that they weren't acknowledging for, they overstand and understand. They have an overstanding of who I am to them, which is a futuristic, an ET, an extraterrestrial version of themselves or a future version of themselves. And they are teaching me the very practices that led them to be imprisoned in this etheric realm right above our heads. I wanted to tell you this and share this to you because I hadn't realized that this was even plausible. I don't even know that I even had the intellect or the ability to even have this information for myself. I didn't know this was possible until I came here to my ancestral home, where a couple of my ancestral homies, my grandmothers, were actually here. This is why it's so important for you to interconnect. And wait, let me state this. This is why there is such a suppression on some people knowing their ancestry, because the reason why this was a bit shocking to me, kind of like a revelation that could never come about unless I actually did this, is because I know now why there are many groups of indigenous, of nativos, people that are from other areas that are disallowed from knowing exactly where they come from. Because if you knew by the very being of your genetics, by the very DNA that you carry, it could be a coded key to release those ancestors of ours that we are in physicality taking on their karmic debt based on the fact that they're in prison, and basically that imprisonment has allowed for us to do time on their crimes that have been supposedly committed, or they've been tried to have committed by other beings. So basically I'm saying to you, by the nature of them being imprisoned in certain other realms and dimensions, remember, time doesn't exist, past, present, or future, you are doing time for them in physicality. And by you going and acknowledging your very ancestry and actually touching ground on the very land that they walked and they were imprisoned, you have a key to free them. Your very acknowledgement, your DNA, and by you energetically and spiritually and frequency wise releasing and giving yourself and them for anything that they may have taken on based on them not knowing. Listen, I've done a time, I'm like in a time loop right now. It feels like I've traveled back to the 19th century, the beginning of the 19th century in America. Many people are very unaware, almost asleep. Could you imagine hundreds of years ago? These are grandmothers that precede even my great grandmother. So these are the two grandmothers that precede them. So we're talking about grandmothers from three, 400, 500 years ago. I don't know exactly time frame. I know based on them, one particular grandmother, I almost looked like a spitting image of her. When she looked at me, she cried tears, and her tears were like glitter and silver. It was the most beautiful thing. And where I'm getting my nigga hair is where she has her nigger hair all here coming down, but it's braided. So she has a braided, beautiful coiled braids with like these wonderful, like interlaid pine cones, the very pine cones of the mother that many of you saw at the conference of the ET, the Andromedan sea star that I call my mother. That these grandmothers that I released are the same familia. This is where it gets deep. Of the same familia of the Andromedan sea star who's been guiding me my entire life. She led me here. My celestial mother, my Andromedan mother led me here. And all the feelings of the need and necessity to go to Brazil weren't they were relative. You know, some people want to go places and we think, oh, it's just because it's beautiful. Oh, it's because I want to, I want to travel there. But if I was to tell you that not every time will you have a craving to visit a particular place. Maybe it's a place in Nigeria that you don't know why you want to go to Nigeria. You haven't any idea. You dream about people from Nigeria. What if I told you that the very beings that are caught up in these loops, in these etheric prisons, are basically calling you from those prisons, like a call that's not being picked up but semi being acknowledged, and they're asking for you to come in order to release them from the etheric prisons that they are in based on the traumas and tragedies that have happened in their regions. So it's time for us to waken up on. I don't know that I'm on because it doesn't look like I'm on. So I'm going to start talking a little bit because I know that it might take a minute. Okay, there I go. Listen, family, I know I can't stay on long. Again, for those who are just checking in, I'm still in Brazil and northern Brazil. Let me state that because Bala's always like, don't make it seem like this is all Brazil. This is one aspect, very small, minuscule part of Brazil. But what I will say is if I can share anything that would help for those to release themselves from the ancestral trauma based in prisons, etheric prisons, that a lot of your ancestors are still in, looping, going in program over program, not realizing that they're caught in a electromagnetic prison. I would state this. Start becoming more self-aware. I discussed previously, the 30-day water fast was a catalyst for me to actually do this trek. I had always felt like I'm going to Brazil, but this was a catalyst. And also, I personally think it allowed for me to decode the ancestral codons that were locked in my very DNA, because I wasn't having any of the foods that I know now are foods to lock down, keep you in lockdown. All these prison terms, lockdown, these terms that they utilize for prisoners in actual physical prisons are the same lockdowns that are in the etheric and the spiritual and the mind prisons. And once you're able to bypass these programs by triggering some form of reset, okay? Because by me not eating daily, and food has always been one of my, y'all know I'm a foodie and the thickums. So you already know food has always been something that has been something I've had a very interesting connection to. But I realize now that maybe that was part of my my poison that was able to lock down my genome. So by the very nature of me having maybe an addiction to food, because food in itself is toxic, especially in the way that we engage with it, maybe that was my lockdown. Locking down my genomes, locking down my DNA, locking down my memories, my soul memories, and my ancestral memories. And as soon as I triggered a reset in my body by not eating. Remember, I've done fasts. I've never done a 30-day fast. I did a 30-day water fast with 0 vegetables. So even the lockdowns I had in the vegetables, I wasn't getting. I released the ancestral information that basically propelled me to do my exodus to Brazil. Once I got to Brazil, I told you on the plane, I had contact immediately once we came overhead of Brazil. Once that happened, I had coating on my arm. And then when I took my second flight to the final destination that I was arriving at, You know, Paulino had a wave that hit her. In the same time, I had a wave giving me geographical locations in my first eye before I even landed. So all this to say is that there are etheric prisons with your ancestors locked down. This is one of the ways they get away with locking your like your future children down, because if they have one of your ancestors in one of these etheric prisons, or many of them, they're able to manipulate how you can express your gene pool in the future. It's a form of generational enslavement. That's what it is. And they do it etherically. I hadn't known. Big up to Sydney that actually disclosed. Sydney, all Sydney did was allow me to see or release or to heal the aspect of myself that needed to be healed. And when he did so, it also, I don't, you know, I don't even, I haven't talked to Sydney. I told Sydney part of it, but he wasn't shocked. He wasn't really shocked. I haven't told him this aspect because the grandmother started to come to me more readily. And even the grandmother who talked to me, who looks the one that I look like the most, which is I'm her future. That's why I said the ETs are not always what we think they are. They're future versions of ourselves interconnecting with ourselves. And we also acknowledge that even with the grays, the grays that are coming to many people, and that's why I say only certain people see grays. And I notice that most people who have interaction with the grays have some interesting behavioral patterns that allow them to be connected to a group in the future that has a lot of karma based on their non-connectivity and losing their genetic dexterity. As I've noted, most people that I know that are addicted a lot of times have alcohol addiction. Also, they are people who've done some interesting, their ancestors have done some very abusive things to other people. So I personally think that those who are experiencing a lot of interaction with grays, and some are very positive, it's not negative, not all the time. I personally think that that's their future ancestors coming back to maybe remedy or to interact with their past selves in order to resolve some issues that were caused through to imbalances that we here in this particular time have created. So hopefully, family, this is cool. I would love to so interact. I wish, you know, again, I can't see the comments. I'm grateful to have such revelations in a way that are so profound. Everything I've experienced here from day one have been so profound. It's blown my mind. It's gone beyond even my comprehension. Some of the things I'm experiencing, there aren't words to warrant the elation that comes along with getting this kind of information. Wisdom is gained sometimes not just through practices of reading or looking at other people's experiences or even you listening to someone's video. It's based on you taking you and creating experiences that will provoke, evoke, or trigger, gain wisdom based on you going somewhere or changing your practices of how you eat, seeing people's different perspectives from different alignments. That's how I think that we heal ourselves. And I think that's why it's being discouraged for some to even leave, because if they did, they can. I broke my grandmother's at etheric prison. I feel so amazing. I'm so grateful. Like, I think about that like I'm the homie that came from the future and freed my ancestors out of their prison. And they're absolutely grateful. They're giving me coded messages every day, and not even coded, just straight out information. I am so changed forever just from coming here and doing so. And actually, just previous to me coming here and following my first mind and deciding to do something that was unorthodox, not eating for 30 days is a very challenging thing. And for some, it can be very detrimental. I'm grateful that it was something that I did consciously with heightened self-awareness and humbly. And I'm grateful for, you know, my spiritual family, my celestial family. The Andromedans have always had my back. I've been very supportive. I've realized all the wonderful things that are out here and the things that needed to be healed that I didn't even acknowledge. There were certain issues, even being here. You know, I'm more humbled as a mother. You know, I listened to my daughters. Like we came back for my little one's birthday. Big up to my little one's birthday, Earth Day, her Earth anniversaire. Yesterday we did horseback riding on the beach, and last night we came home, we were shopping afterwards. We did like a whole, you know, tour of like this beautiful site. It was beautiful, it was amazing. But I talked to her when we got back, both my daughters, and We cried. It was a lot of revelations, and I heard them. Like, I literally, as a parent, and this is something as a mother and for fathers here, parents who sometimes we think that we doing all the best for your children, like you do everything, you think, you come from the mindset like I'm doing this for my children, but a lot of times we have to hear them, not listen to them. Listen, but hear them. And my little niece does. My amazing little splinters of my DNA, my seeds, shared some profound things that I was unwilling, I won't say unaware, unwilling to acknowledge. And it humbled me as a mother. It made me realize certain things that I need to do a lot better. It also allowed me to know that these are little souls who have their own expression, and I want to make sure that I let them express themselves in the most healthy and safe arena, and acknowledge what is necessary for their own spiritual growth, because they each have their own development that needs to occur on their own levels. I'm really grateful. So I want to thank my little nieces that are actually still sleeping. That's why I'm able to do this live with you. It's my crew. My nieces are my crew, to really experience this. And I'm really grateful to bring them on site where their great grandmothers have actually had interaction with them. And the dreams that my little ones are having are profound. They're deep. And my little ones shared with me some amazing, amazing intel that I won't take for granted. So I hope this video is okay. I made a video. I'm sorry for everyone who's waiting for a video about the 80s, being thrown back to the 80s. I'll make another video based on that. That's a whole, my IG family, big up to the IG family. If you haven't joined my IG family, a lot of times I talk about all the more mundane topics. Like here, I'll bring up topics that I know are things that are in the realm of my channel, just what I started out with. But on IG, I just talk about anything that I want to talk about, like anything. Family, big up to IG family. I have to say it again. Like, I wrote up the whole thing about the connection to the 80s. I'm going to make another video about that, telling you that they teleported us into the 80s without your knowledge. And we're living in the 80s. That's why everything's a throw. They were given like gems along with it. It's like that solidified that that's the case. Tragic. I'm not staying at my previous jungle location. I'm actually in a beautiful Posada. So because of that, I don't get a chance to talk to you. So it's a beautiful place that I'm going. I have to make sure that I visit. I have different experiences here and where I'm staying before I actually, the also positive things, but the things that need to be acknowledged and spoken about that I will speak about once I, you know, go back home for a little bit to the United States. These are things I can't discuss here, obviously, because I'm in a country that isn't okay with that kind of truth being spoken. So I want to travel back safely with my little one. So I'll make sure I'll keep that information and express it when I'm on, our own home court advantage. So, as much as we talk about the states, there is some privilege to living in the United States and having a certain freedom, even though we had the comments after. I can't read it while I'm doing the video because obviously I can't see it. The Wi-Fi is challenging, but I love you, family. I hope you're having an amazing, what is it, Sunday? The eclipse is on Tuesday. Make sure that you prepare. This eclipse is the bomb.com. We got the eclipse Tuesday, the 2nd and the 3rd. And with this eclipse is coming a lot of, some of you are getting, like Sensei would say, a tower over here, tower over here, tower over here. I love when Sensei, big up to Sensei, who's coming. Oh, we have our the Nisa here. I hope she comes over here. If she came over here now, I would have had her on, but I can't do her now. Okay, she's talking. Anyway, so there's going to be a lot of tower moments for those who are lacking in self-awareness. So if you feel like you're going through a lot of revelations and, a lot of challenging moments and, a triggering of to heighten your self-awareness, allow it with a very loving, loving and incorporative type of feeling. Try to stay away from resistance because all it's meant to do is cultivate you and bring you to higher realms of yourself. And if you are having tower moments, and what do I mean by tower moments? Tower moments are those you're having trauma financially, or you're having trauma with family members, or you're having trauma within yourself, or trauma with your health. These are all gifts. Remember I told you I went to the Edgar Cayce Institute, and the one thing I learned is adversity is a gift. And when you experience it, experience it, or things that you deem or previously deemed as traumas, you will always be able to follow the yellow brick road and see that it has brought you, it has propelled you, or it's brought things to fruition that weren't things that you could have ever received without those so-called traumatic moments or those revelations that are uncomfortable. Sometimes growth spurts are uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, you end up being taller. So take it as you should, but there's going to be those revelations right before the eclipse, which is in 2 days. So enjoy your eclipse moments, absorb all the intel. There's going to be shakes and shivers and triggers, shivers and triggers on the planet. The celestial time. So, ground yourself, take it like a champ. Brush it off your shoulder. Take your badge of honor, that tower, put it as a badge of honor on your chest, and rock it off like garnish it. Show it like a rock star. All right. So I love you, family. And again, I'll read the comments after. I can't read it now. Big up to all my famille in the States. I miss you. I love you. Aquarius Rising, Ninth Gate will be back. I know many of you missed the show, but I'll be back. But remember, I'll be a better hostess on the show with all the revelations that I gain, because this is just one of many things I'm going to share with you. But some things I'm going to have to wait to. Love you. Talk to you later. Peace.